Welcome back, everybody. I'm going to share with you a brief tutorial on Bhujangasana, the cobra pose. And specifically, I'm going to connect this work with the cobra to the midsection. In this week's theme at the Bhuta Yoga Academy, we're working with the element of fire, which lives here in Manipura chakra. So I want to talk about the midsection, and specifically I want to talk about the connection between the lower ribs and the hips. Yeah, so there's this area here on our body that we want to pay attention to when we're working with the area of the solar plexus. And the reason for that is because a lot of times energy escapes when the ribs flare, and that creates compression here in the lower back. And that hyperextension here doesn't allow us to access the kidneys and the adrenal system, which, working with solar plexus area and Manipura chakra, this region of the body, it's not just here in the front, it also corresponds to the back. And so we want to pay attention to how to integrate this area of the body, the connection between our lower half and our upper half. And specifically, we're going to talk about how to do that in Bhujangasana. So just think about this area, the connection between the lower ribs and the top of the hips, and pay attention to how on the exhale the navel moves towards the spine, and on the inhale, if you keep the navel drawing towards the spine, the inhale will move more into the posterior and allow the spine to open. So those are some of the keys to our development of this area. And I'm going to have us come into a posture laying on our belly to prepare for Bhujangasana. Remember, Bhujanga means cobra. And so you can just bring your forehead onto the mat and lengthen one leg and the other, and just make sure that your feet are the tops of your feet are flat. And then from this position, we'll just take a few breaths, and on the exhale, let your pubic bone move into the ground. So the exhale, you push the pubic bone down, and then on the inhale, if you keep your pubic bone pushing down and you keep your navel pulling in on the inhale, you'll notice how that changes the relationship between your body and the ground beneath you. So just try that a few times. With every exhale, you're flattening yourself. You're trying to make yourself flat. You're trying to pull your ribs in, pubic bone down, and then you keep the pubic bone down, the ribs in as you inhale. You'll notice that this starts to create a lot of firmness. And so if you can, you're going to keep this firmness on the front body. Try not to lose that integrity on the front body. And on the inhale, start inhaling. And then at the last half of the inhale, lift your spine just a little bit, using just the breath. So you're not pushing into the hands. And so we'll pulse that. We exhale and we'll lower. When you get your forehead to the ground, see if you can exhale more as you push the hairline into the ground. Pubic bone pushes down again. And then pubic bone down, inhale, take that flatness, that integrity of the front body into the back bend as you inhale. You got that? Try two more. So we're just pulsing. We're not forcing the body. We're letting the inhale lift the spine. We're not going more than about 80% on the lift. Less is more. We're keeping the elbows hugging in towards the ribs. Tops of the feet push down, the pubic bone down. One more. And then come up, but then stay up on the exhale. Let the exhale go into the legs. So how do you do that? You push down with the pubic bone and the tops of the feet, and then you inhale, but you keep the bones of the legs firm. If you do it right, you'll feel the legs get really strong. That's what we're looking for. If we're looking for a really strong lower body here. And if you can keep that strong lower body, you can start to use your legs on the inhale, and you can lift. And the arms become straight. This is more of a upward facing dog position. the upward dog, full upward dog, you press the tops of the feet and then the thighs come off the ground, but you only do that if your back is okay. You want to keep the legs strong. And if you're in this straight arm position, what I'm going to have us do, just as an exploration of the midsection, tops of the shins and the feet are down. And now what I want you to do is, as you inhale, use your legs and then lift the spine. Now keep your arms straight, but exhale and think of like rounding. And you bring your chin down and you bring your ribs in. Your ribs go towards your hips. And then when you inhale, bring your hips forward, bring your navel forward, and then your ribs, and then your sternum, collarbones open, throat opens, chin opens. So you're in this straight arm position, but you're doing kind of like a mini cat-cow. You got that? And just pay attention to the midsection. This is the exploration that I wanted us to do together, is 3 or 4 breaths just with this straight arm cobra position where you're drawing the ribs in, the navel towards the spine, the legs strong, and then keep the navel back on the inhale. Really simple, really easy. Think of releasing the lower back. Try to make space in the lower back. You're trying to, especially when you exhale, when you push the pubic bone down, try to keep the skin on the lower back long and soft. Don't pinch. If you notice yourself pinching, just reset. One more time. And then move back, child's pose. You can take a rest there. Once you've finished your rest, you can come up to tabletop. And I'm just sharing about this area and the importance of this area. So when we're kind of tucking and rounding, you're paying attention to how the ribs and the hips come towards each other. But then don't lose that connection when you inhale. So you're trying to keep that sort of integrity in the midsection, right? And this idea of doing this with the arms straight in the upward dog cobra-like shape, that helps us become aware of how to work the legs. Specifically notice the inside of the legs, all the way down to the inside arches of the feet and the toes. This area is working really strong in cobra. We want to pay attention to this area. Once we get that well established and we have the awareness of how our feet and our toes and the insides of the legs up to the sacrum and how that's connecting to the midsection, which we developed that through cobra and what I was just demonstrating, we can also look at the plank position. Because in plank, a lot of times people's lower back will sag. And that's just because this connection to the lower part of the body and the inside of the legs and that spaciousness in the lower back, we're missing that. And if we're missing that, it's because this area is not drawing in. You see what I mean? And so the plank position starts to become more available as we become aware of what we're doing here in that cobra pulse. And notice how at the beginning when I'm laying flat, I'm exhaling and I'm pushing my pubic bone down and my forehead down. This is when I'm laying flat. And that sort of creates integrity on the front body, which then I use that integrity to lift into the back bend. That is what we're looking for. That helps us connect the lower parts to the upper part. The midsection is the bridge, just like the fire symbolically is the bridge between the physical realm and the spiritual realm. It's the same idea here in the body. So we want to look at how well are we cultivating our fire, the cauldron here, and working in these ways, especially in the exhalation, drawing the navel back and then keeping the navel back when we inhale. This will build a lot of heat in this area and create a lot of stability here, which lends itself to all of our practices. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Thanks for joining me. This is our tutorial on Bhujangasana and specifically working with the element of fire at Manipura Chakra in the Bhuta Yoga method. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe. Every time someone subscribes, it's like, yeah, somebody out there is resonating with our work. And I look forward to sharing more of these videos with you because we'll be coming out with a new one every week. At the very least, if you have questions in specific for me, you can send them my way. And I'm happy to make another video for those out there who are interested. Oh, be sure to grab the free PDF. It goes into detail on all of the different elements that we work with in Bhuta Yoga. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, the space. You can find that in the description below. But other than that, I just want to thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure to share with you today on the spiritual sciences of yoga and tantra. See y'all soon. Woo.